One of the goals of the 21st century woman is to achieve full economic empowerment and emancipation, which is what we have decided to talk about today. What does the modern woman need to do, and what are the benefits of economic empowerment? This is the Girls Table, and my name is Hlenyewe. Joining us in the studio today is Rosaline and Karen, and they are going to help us discuss economic empowerment. Welcome, ladies, to the Girls Table, and please introduce yourselves.
Thank you for having me. I'm Kudai Karen Mangena. I'm a young fashion designer aged 18. I'm also a student at NAS studying journalism and media studies.
I'm Rosalyn Makakula. I run the Sweet Life Cakery, which is a bakery for cakes for all occasions, which is a home-based business for now. And I have plenty other ideas which will come hopefully soon.
Absolutely. So, first things first, I'd like to know what you guys understand about economic empowerment and what it entails.
Okay, for me, when I think economic empowerment, obviously I'm thinking finances, I'm thinking freedom to spend where you'd like, how you'd like to spend. That's what economic empowerment means for me. Advancing yourself financially, advancing yourself assets-wise. Mm-hmm. That's what it means to me.
So not having to ask for money from anybody?
Not having to ask from anyone.
All right, what do you understand about economic empowerment?
Well, for me, I'm thinking being independent, not having to be relying on anyone for funds, etc. So you're that person who can work hard and get that money that you need and spend it on things that you want. Mm-hmm. Rather than being that person who's always like, can I have money for this? Can I have money for that? So yeah.
All right. So where do you guys think the journey to economic empowerment starts? Because it's one thing to look at a 20, 30-year-old and so where does the journey to economic empowerment start, especially for women?
For women, I would think that the first thing that we need to think about, besides, I think it should start maybe employment. Mm-hmm. For some people, it starts at employment. For others, it starts at being business people. The ability to just earn an income, whether you're someone's employee or you're your own boss. Mm-hmm. That's where the economic empowerment starts.
All right.
Well, for me, I think it starts with the decolonization of the mind. Mm-hmm. And,
Hello, somebody.
So I think as women, we should avoid that colonial mindset whereby we think, we've got this mindset that I'm supposed to rely on someone for money. And it starts by having a vision. Sisters, have a vision. Mm-hmm. Know what you want in life and aim at that. Like, start planning. When you have a vision, start planning and aiming at achieving that.
All right. So she talks about decolonizing the mind. Mm-hmm. And for me, that's a bit abstract because I'm like, colonization, what context exactly are you talking about? Because I'm looking at a situation where, you grow up at home, and you grow up and your conceptualization of money is also that very part. So what do you mean by decolonizing the mind? And I agree that the journey starts with your mindset. So what exactly do you mean by that?
Okay, so if you look at the the African colonial era, right? Mm-hmm. What was going on? It was we had our women there at home, right? Who were cooking and doing all sorts of things. They were responsible for washing dishes, all those household chores, whilst men were the ones who were going to work, going to the farm, mm-hmm. and doing ABCD, right? So it was then where men felt more superior to women, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm saying decolonizing, it's a colonial attitude because it was there in the European era. Mm-hmm. Like if you look at the times, I did history, so if you look at the Nazi system that was there, that's how the system operated. So if we take you, a young lady, we remove that house girl or home
domestic woman,
right?
Yeah.
And then we start feeding you with ideas on how you can empower yourself, how you can look for ideas, how you can be business minded. It's not that all of us are business women, right? Mm-hmm. You could be doing whatever you're doing, but empowering yourself
wherever
time.
you are.
Yeah.
Do you think that modern household, African home, is conducive for the economic empowerment of the girl child? Taking from what she's saying, Wuti, when we are growing up, the thing that they will make sure that you know is shiny and making sure. So do you think that socialization is conducive for the economic empowerment of the woman?
Right now, it's not, because we're still at the point where we're struggling to just say, no, I don't have to cook. Why can't someone else? Even when you think about it, when you have a maid at home, you're still told, no, because you're the girl, you have someone to help you, some house help. And when you come from work, you have to then go on and do the domestic chores despite having help that is paid. So at the moment, the African setup, of course, here and there, was still trying to move away from the mindset of being women are domesticated, but because of ubuntu, umfazi, in the end you end up going to default settings because that's what you've been trained. And every day someone tells you, yeah, woman, you're just a woman, just do these things and be done with it, then do whatever else you want, like it's an extra. Then what your core business in life is just move on fast.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you think women want to be economically empowered? Because I've heard statements like, like there's nothing as amazing like being taken care of. So do we want to be economically empowered? And do you think women are actively working towards economic empowerment? Do we want it?
Yay. I think that's a 50-50 thing, because we've got those ladies who will be like, no, I want my husband to take care of me, I want him to provide everything. And then on the other hand, we've got those go-getters, those who say, I want to achieve this, I want to have this type of car, this type of house, this type of everything, right? And they work towards it. Like, if we could do a background check right now, we've got women going into the working area, going to different fields, and they are working hard to achieve their goals there. So it's no longer, I think women have seen that the moment you're domesticated or made to rely on someone, you get abused. Because you get to a point where you ask yourself, what happens if that husband dies? And what happens if he loses that job? And it's also on that side where the husband, what if he decides to leave you today? What happens? So you need to be.
All right.
Yeah.
Do we want to be economically empowered? Because now you have to be empowered because nobody's marrying anybody anymore. So do we want?
I think there's some people who want to break new ground, but then culturally, there's some who obviously want to stay at home and be domestic, and that's okay too if that's what you want. But then the problem comes when someone is actively trying to stop you from going for what you want because, well, you're a woman.
You're a woman.
Yeah, that's what I think.
All right, so let's look at our community, Bulawayo, Zimbabwe. Are women in our society economically empowered, or at least working towards it? I want you to look at the people around you, the people in your church, the people in your community. Are young women economically empowered, or at least working towards it?
I think people are making strides. If we think of our communities, if you think of the women even who sell by the roadside, most of the people who sell by the roadside, those are women, although it's not on a big scale and the profit margin is low, but that is a starting point. And if we think of Avon, all those network marketing, I think people are trying. I don't know if it's because of our messed up economy or it's a trend which is starting, but people are really trying to push forward and move on ahead.
Your thoughts?
I agree with what she's saying, because there's that girl next door who's doing your hair, there's that girl next door who's trying to start a business and do all sorts of things. But we still have young women who are not working towards that, who are still saying, I'm a sit at home, I'm away from my husband to bring the money, or I'm away from my dad or my mom, and people like that. We still have those ladies who do not desire to work to become where they should be.
All right, so you have people looking down upon women that are doing what you are talking about, you know, your tomatoes, your hairdressing, your food industry, you know, is that economic empowerment when there are fields like mining and farming and so forth that women need to be taking over? Do you agree with it? Even in those small strides, we are still lagging behind our male counterparts.
It's true, because when you look at even in the culinary arts, you know, in the home it will be said the woman who cooks and she's the best cook. But if you look at the number of male chefs and the number of male bakers, they outnumber the women. I don't know by how many.
Yeah.
So I don't know how, but at some point we just fall off the track.
Why are we falling off the track? Is it us, or is that the environment is not conducive for women to reach that level of self-actualization?
I think I'll keep on going back to, especially in the African context, I'll keep on going back to the issue of culture, because even as you advance, when you get to the late 20s, mid 20s, like, but what about a husband? Are you not going to have children? And in the end, the pressure gets to you and you end up dropping out of something that you're potentially good at. And at the same time, there are fields like maybe mining that you spoke about, and not traditionally, but then usually it says it's a man's world. And women would be hesitant, even though you're good in that field, you'd be hesitant to go in that area. And somehow you end up going for those professions that I say, no, these are good for women. These are the professions that you're supposed to go for. So in the end, women fall by because of culture, because of just the fear of breaking new ground, of being the only one, the fear of failure. You hear of stories of women and girls who are being ridiculed in classes because you're the only girl out of 20 guys. And women who are belittled in boardrooms because, well, why can't you just serve the tea? So that's part of our problem. And I was reading, I think, some article where they're talking about the number of CEOs in, I think, on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, and they're like only 2 out of all the companies are women. And those women were being belittled in the comments. Low galandoda, low slaved her way to the top. So because of that, women end up, so the environment is not really helping, and maybe we're not being brave enough also. So she makes so many valid points about what the obstacles that women are encountering to, I mean, there was once a point when I was doing my master's when someone was like, until you're married, then you can do your PhD. And you know, when people say that, you start listening to them, and you're like, sure, you know, get married and then I'll continue. What obstacles do you think women are also encountering, especially that are self-inflicted, that are hindering women from reaching economic empowerment or actualization?
Okay, women always have that fear that says, oh, if I'm too bold, I'm not going to get the man, because especially when you're single and you're younger, women, you always have that cultural hindrance that says, oh, if I'm working too hard, it's going to intimidate the man because the man has to be superior. And it's not only us as women who are, it's not only yourself hindering yourself, but we've got all other women as well. Other women who will lash out at you and say, oh, or things like that. So as women, the other problem is other women around us. We look down on women. That's why we have, like, look at the situation all over the world. The issue of women being a president, you can look at that American situation. We undermine women because women are sort as weak or something like that. So we have to work on that.
All right. So women have been accused of being crybabies. I mean, if you look at politics especially, you know, you guys can't do this, and you're sensitive and so forth. Do you agree or you disagree with that sentiment?
I disagree. I believe that's an old old thing. It's been done away because we've got young women who are bold enough to take the stand. I believe that women are more emotionally stable than men. That's
all balanced.
They're all balanced. Did you see that lash out in the court? What happened? It was in the parliament, right? And men are lashing out. It wasn't even women.
Okay.
Yes. We might have our emotions that are there, but men are more emotionally unstable. So it's not about us being weak, because I believe that we are very strong people. If you go back to how you grew up, you can actually look at how your mom is, how she withstood everything that came her way. So it's not that we're emotionally stable. It's not that stands in our way. Yeah.
All right, so let's look at the advantages or the positives of being economically empowered. I'm going to assume that you guys are economically empowered and you live in the beauty of economic empowerment. What are the positives of being your own woman and being economically empowered?
Well, firstly, I'm working towards being fully. But you really don't have to be asking everyone for every single thing. You can live your life the way that you feel you want to live it. You can travel when you want, provided the finances are there. But you can live your life the way that you want. You can travel. You can have the experiences that you want because you have the financial muscle to do it yourself. You can experience new things. You can venture into the studies that you want. I can buy the baking equipment that I want. No one will say, no, you have to go back and focus on your degree. I have the financial muscle to do what I want when I want. And that is the freedom that I want. Yeah.
Okay, for me, I think I'll fit in this background because I'm 18 years, turning 19. I've started my own fashion brand, KC Designs, right? And for me, what it means is that I'm at a point in my life, I'm young. I'm able to say, Mom, I don't need this money. I can work out certain things. I help out as well. I'm not only relying on my parents to say, oh, I need this, I need that. And it also stops me from going around and sleeping with older men. I'm a placer, right? Because I've got that thing whereby, okay, if I need my tag money or if I need money for ABCD, I work hard towards it. I have been empowered and I'm still empowering myself to say I can be able to handle certain things and help out as well. So, and the other thing with women being empowered, I think, when you have money, you can control certain aspects. You can be able to share your helping hand, donate to people, help out and help control certain systems. Yeah.
All right. So I would also like your thoughts on, affirmative action, the quota system where now companies are supposed to employ, 50% of your employees are supposed to be women, or what do you guys think about that? Because a lot of people have said, you women are now getting positions that you don't deserve because they live at 50% in Lapana instead of you working towards getting that on merit and not on a silver platter. What would you guys have to say about that?
The cyberspace is home to billions of people and is the right platform you need to grow your business. The Center for Innovation and Technology is offering you a golden opportunity to speak directly to your market at an affordable price. We also offer media training workshops, live streaming, documentary production, and events management. Get in touch with us today on the following numbers: +263 867 711 0290 or 0718 100 235. Don't forget to subscribe to our social media platforms. Like our Facebook page, Center for Innovation and Technology. Follow us on Twitter @SiteZW. And you can also check out our website www.site.org.zw. You can also visit our offices at 45 Moffat Avenue, Hillside, Blaauw. Take advantage of this opportunity to expand your business.
So I'd also like your thoughts on, affirmative action, the quota system where now companies are supposed to employ, 50% of your employees are supposed to be women, or what do you guys think about that? Because a lot of people have said, you women are now getting positions that you don't deserve because they live 50% in Lapana instead of you working towards getting that on merit and not on a silver platter. What would you guys have to say about that?
Okay, I do not think that it's an unfair policy to have a 50-50 situation at work or in parliament, because historically speaking, the playing field has been unlevel. So it would make sense now to try and balance going forward. If the situation changes, then I think then it would be a time to do some redress. And speaking of 50-50 or trying to balance, I'm sure that's the type of situation, even maybe on economic policies like OBE in South Africa, they're trying to redress a wrong which has been going on. So it would be something which is fair to do now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think about the quota system? Because some are saying it also creates a situation, if a company needs, 10 employees, 5 have to be women, 5 have to be men, you find that people getting some substandard, unqualified women, what do you have to say about that as well?
I believe we should look at it on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that if I have to get a position, then I have to show it by my hard work. I don't need anyone reducing any level for me because I know I'm good, so I will get it. So that for me, I feel as if it makes us a bit inferior, whereby we need to have a standard reduced so that we can get in. It also allows men to start ridiculing us, so people out there, because we see it also in universities where certain degrees are reduced, like the number of points.
The points that you need to get in.
Yeah, they reduce just because you're a girl. No, we've got girls who are aiming, who are getting 15 points out there, who are getting a number of things. So you guys don't owe me anything.
Yeah.
I have
so
to work
you're
hard.
saying it actually diminishes the work that we're doing as women.
Yes.
We should just work
back door.
All right. So, I feel like we've been talking empowerment on the urban context.
Yeah.
What do you guys have to say about women in the rural areas, especially, where you find a lot of cases of abuse, and because they are not economically empowered, so to speak? What do you guys have to say about that?
I think in the context of the rural areas, it's more of maybe information asymmetry as compared to here. Here, one tweet will get you, everyone in rural now knows. But then in the rural areas, in terms of timelines, it seems like we're in different timelines, because here you're fighting for basically Peggy's child, but then that side, that person is actually fighting to have to go to primary school, not to have to get married to that old man.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's an issue of not having people reach out to those remote areas to talk about these issues, because people just don't know any better. So she'll just go and get married, or someone will give away their daughter, or she just won't go to school because they just don't know any better in some areas, although some people do take advantage of that. Yeah.
All right. What does economic empowerment in the rural context look like for you? Because, what are the chances of, okay, maybe they are, but they're not vying for the same, CEO positions or whatever as we are. So what does economic empowerment in the rural context look like, or what should it look like in your thoughts?
For me, in the rural areas, right, I believe we should have those young ladies empowered to say, even if it's me finding a job in that nearest kiosk, that tuck shop, that whatever shop, that grocery shop that's there, they should be allowed to apply there. They should be allowed to go to school. I shouldn't be limited just because I'm learning in the villages. I shouldn't be told that, no, you have to go and do A, B, C, D. And we should aim as that, as those people who have been elevated, right? For us who are in town, who are in the urban sector, we should be able, when we empower ourselves, let us not forget those ladies who are that side. Let's fight for them, because we can spend time fighting for those petty issues, but we also need to work towards helping them as well.
So the empowerment of women is not without its challenges. How does society, how do men specifically interact with women that are economically empowered? Because I've heard like so many things, so many accusations, so many insults that are hurled towards a lady that's doing her thing. So what are the challenges maybe that women that are empowered, that have broken the ceiling, what challenges are they facing? Maybe that make those that are not empowered also be afraid to reach that level.
When you look at it, it will be an issue again of culture. It's one which is holding us back, because the woman who is empowered, maybe because of what she's gone through to get to where she is, sometimes she ends up seeming like she's someone who's aloof. You know, and sometimes even valid arguments, if you read maybe on Facebook, valid arguments that you see this argument is merit, but because some man disagrees with it, then he has to go, you know, something which is completely off topic. So
Out of pocket.
out of context, from nowhere. So in the end, I agree with you. That makes other women who are less emboldened to go forward, because in the end, even the men will shun her, and the men will end up treating her like no vele kafike unjani, and in the end, no one wants to venture where they see someone else suffering. Yeah.
All right. What challenges do you think economically empowered women face in their communities or society?
Okay, when it comes to the issue of men, there's always that pride factor. That men don't want to have that lady who's the boss of the house. They always assume that if a woman is independent, then she doesn't need me, and if she doesn't need me, she doesn't have to submit to me. Okay, that's the problem that women have, and we've got that stereotyping of women. She's doing ABCD, so she doesn't owe anyone. They have that mindset that I don't owe anyone anything, so I lose my morals and my character. We are deemed characterless if you achieve higher positions than men. If you're a CEO of a company, she obviously slept with a man, we know her. So it's been like that.
It's like you can't reach the high level without having done something sinister or scrupulous. Like you must have slept with someone, you must have stolen something, or something like that.
And most if you're single, they're like, she's got things there that are in the house, you cannot know that.
Alright. So what role do women play in the emancipation of other women? Because I feel like maybe it's a high time we stopped asking men or whatever, but we start doing it ourselves. So what role do women play in the emancipation or empowerment of other women?
I think the answer lies in maybe mentoring. It doesn't necessarily have to be the CEO of some big company who's looking for 100 girls. It can be the teacher who's mentoring some young girl to move further beyond the point that they're at. It can be anyone who feels that they have the power to show, even if it's not mentoring as such, but then just to encourage someone else, encourage another girl to move on and be the woman who supports the business of another woman. Don't be the woman who's like, really? You know, be the woman who supports the business of another woman. Be the woman who encourages another woman. Be the woman to say the kind word to someone else who's maybe they're probably having a crappy day, and they just say something nice to them. That goes a long way, because that person who says something nice to you, you'll never forget, and that is the thing that will push you to go forward and forward forever. Yeah.
You know, it's so funny how women undermine other women. And I mean, if we were to rally around each other, we would reach far. Have you ever been to a driving school and then your instructor was a woman? And then you're like, because we don't trust each other to do a great job. So we need to start thinking different.
It's true. It's like that everywhere. Like you go to the border, you go to the airport.
Yeah.
As long as you're big safe by a woman.
All right. I also want to hear your thoughts about the role that other women play in the emancipation of other women.
For me, like what she was talking about, mentorship, things like that, they help. But I'd also say that it starts with you. Like if I'm able to help those around me, I'm emancipating, right? If I'm able to give a helping hand, I'm a designer. If I'm able to help the next designer to say, and if I'm able to get that same help from another designer to say, no, what you're doing is okay, but you need to improve here. And the other thing is criticism. That we need, as women, we need that positive criticism. We need to tell each other the truth. If this is...
But we can't take it. Have you noticed
Negative criticism. You should be able to take it.
But like, she's a hater.
She's a hater.
Haters out shame them streets. But we should be able to receive that as women from other women as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because that criticism helps you, it builds you. My pastor always says that, don't think those your friends are, he's always like, don't think your friends are going to take you to a higher level, because your friends won't tell you the truth. But you need those people who are going to be like your enemies, they'll tell you the truth. And that's how you improve yourself, because they tell you what you don't know about yourself, what your friends won't tell you about yourself.
Are you guys happy with the role that the government is playing in the emancipation of women, and what would you like to see happening? Because I mean, in the end of the day, we always blame the government. What role is it playing, and what would you like to see happening?
Personally, I'm not happy at all because presently there's the Women's Bank where you apply to get an account. It takes you almost a month. And now getting to the point of the loan, well, just forget about it. The Empowerment Bank, empowering no one, because now they want to complain, no, people are not taking up the loans, but if I come there, then you tell me I need security of a house. I need a house.
I need your loan for me to get that house that you need for me to use as collateral.
You know? So, for now, I don't know, maybe I'm biased, but I really haven't seen any meaningful women empowerment, youth empowerment initiatives that the government has put forward, which have actually come to fruition. Whether there was the CAPS loan facility, nothing happened. Most people, they don't even have a mechanism to make those people who took the loans to pay back. So right now, I don't see it.
So you're saying a lot of these initiatives are cosmetic. Like, so it looks like something is happening to help women, but technically in the actuality of it,
there's nothing which is really happening, because I've personally been to those banks and there's nothing, especially speaking of Blawayo. I went to the Women's Bank in Harare, and there's like a proper building, proper place, and it's really nice, and you feel like something is going to happen here, and nothing happened. So I thought maybe in Blawayo, since there are fewer people, I go there, there's not even an office. You get there, then there's no sign, and what's going to happen there? Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Oh, well, I would also like to complain about that. Well, I've been to Botswana. I've seen how the system operates that side. They empower the young women. You're given, like if you have a project, I've seen young designers that side. They've got places where they're given to say, be working here till you're stable enough financially, and then you can start up your own thing. Let's bring it back home. There's nothing like that for young women. We've got a lot of isolated buildings that have been abandoned and things like that. You're not given if they would give you a chance to say, okay, the government will sponsor you, for example, I'm a designer, with some machines or things like that, start up your mini business, start up your cake business. It'll take you as far, because with that small initiative, it allows you to empower other women as well. So it's not always up to the government, because when they empower me, I'll be able to empower other young women.
The next person.
Yeah. And employment stats. Like, I always had this thing where I'll tell my young sisters that if I get to be a designer and start up my own fashion, I'm not only employing those tailors, I'm actually creating employment for people who cook, right? Those who bring the lunch, those who do ABCD, the transport industry, things like that. So it's empowerment.
All right. So I wish we had all day to sit here and talk about empowerment, but I'd like to hear your last words and final words for the women that are listening right now. What would you like to say to them about the importance of being empowered as a woman, and maybe what they need to do to get there?
I think the important thing is for everyone to go their own path. Choose your path. If you want to be the woman who's after the millions, be that, if that is what will make you happy. If you want to be the stay-at-home wife, be that, but then do everything that you do with a purpose. Have direction in everything that you do, and at the end of the day, peace of mind is what you want to achieve, whether you have your millions or you're slumming it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's great. Your last words?
I'll say be bold. Have a vision. Work towards getting that vision. Don't be discouraged by people, because people are going to say things, they're going to try and stop you. But be focused. Know what you want and get what you want.
Well, there you have it. Live your truth and do what you want to do. If you want them billions, chase them. If you just want to be a stay-at-home mom, and then do that. That is it for the Girls' Day for today. Thank you for watching.